Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. My name is Jeanne Gallagher, and as always, I'm here with Denise Stegall. Hey, Denise.
Hi, Jean. Good to see you.
Hey. And Denise is our longevity concierge, and she's also with Healthy Living with Denise. And insights for the holiday season, we're going to talk about balance and managing our stress. Is that right?
Yes, because even though the holidays are supposed to be fun, so many of us make it a challenge. It's
Mm.
stressful. We try to make everything perfect and it's got to be a certain way. And that's not what the holiday is supposed to be about. So let's talk a little bit about how do we do that? How do we bring the fun back into the holiday season? This year Thanksgiving and Christmas are close. They're like
Mm.
3 or 4 weeks apart, where there's usually an extra week or so in there. So like as soon as you get cleaned up from Thanksgiving, you're already planning for Christmas. And that's one of the challenges I think we have in the United States is we have these two huge holidays like right back to back. And I remember as a kid, Thanksgiving was a lot of fun. Christmas was a lot of fun. And then as I got older and then we had Christmas at my house, or I was responsible for the holiday cooking or doing whatever, for a while it wasn't fun anymore. And
Mhm.
so I had to go through a bit of a, self-discovery or rediscovery when it came to what do the holidays mean to me? What did they mean to my family and the people around me? So I'd like to start there. And I'll ask you the question, what does Thanksgiving mean to you?
I am the wrong person because it's this what we were just talking about. It used to be a lot of fun, but now it's the drudgery of, oh, what are we gonna have for dinner? You know, and our Thanksgiving process is really very minimal and controlled, and it's not over the top. So there's no pressure for decorating the house. There's no pressure. It is just having dinner with family. So it's not a big production, but it is that changing gears when your head's in work and the end of the year. So I think there's so many expectations that we all create for ourselves, right? We're our own worst enemy. And quite often people, especially if you're self-employed or dealing with end of year things and wrapping up the calendar year, maybe it's not your company year, but it's the calendar year, and trying to meet with clients without getting, the holiday card. Meaning, well, it's the holidays that I'm too busy. There might be some things that are supposed to happen, and everybody's feeling that. So that pressure, and then they're putting out the blankety blank Christmas decorations already. Starbucks
I
has
know.
their Christmas cups out. There has to be a rule about this stuff. They shouldn't put Christmas cups out until, oh, I don't know, Black Friday, something.
I would agree. I would agree with you. So let's just start there. It's the first thing we need to do is set our intention for the holiday, setting it early. Yeah, November and December can be really hectic for end of year, whether you own your own business or if you work with somebody, there's always things that need to be done to wrap up, not just wrap up, but also starting to plan for next year, right? So the holidays can kind of get in the way if we
Mhm.
let it, right? Again, the holidays are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be filled with joy, and friends and family. So I would encourage everybody, set your intention for, coming up soon, Thanksgiving. What do you want that to look like? And if it's been a lot of stress and pressure over the years, let's think about ways we can change that and bring the fun and ease back into it. So in my house, my house of, two people, me and Mark, Thanksgiving is Mark's holiday. We've always done kind of what he wanted to do, whether if he wanted to go to visit his family, which very rarely he did, or travel someplace. This is about, it's his holiday. What does he want to do? Because at Christmas is my holiday. I want to spend it with my mom, or, when the kids were younger, I wanted to spend it with my sister because my niece and my nephew were younger. So this way, I think we both feel like we're getting a holiday that is meaningful to us,
Mhm.
right? And when you're in a relationship, whether it's husband, spouse, best friend, kids, there's a lot of give and take. And I think so often with the holidays is we want things to be our way. It's got to be a certain way. And we forget the other people and what they may want.
Mhm.
So set your intention what it means to you and what would be helpful for you. But how about asking the other people in your world,
Mm.
you know,
Versus telling.
yes, absolutely. What are their expectations? What would be fun for them?
Mhm.
So Mark and I actually go out to dinner on Thanksgiving. We've done this since the first year after we got married. My parents came here to Minnesota. That was 21 years ago or 20 years ago. So for the last 20 years or 19 years, we've gone out to dinner.
Mhm.
We traveled someplace, stayed a really nice place, find a fun place that's different that has a Thanksgiving meal. The nice thing about that is if it's a restaurant, you could choose the Thanksgiving dinner, or you could choose whatever is also is on their menu.
Right. You're
So
not stuck with turkey.
exactly. Mark and I are neither one of us are really into the, mashed potatoes and the sweet potatoes. A little bit goes a long way for us.
Mhm.
So for us, sometimes we're like, can I just have a side of broccoli? And side of broccoli is typically not on a Thanksgiving dinner table, right? So it is important to find out what the other people in your world would be interested in, and then align your plans with each other.
Mhm.
Um, some of the planning thing. I mean, that to me, that is planning. That's the step one of planning. And then you can kind of figure out, okay, what are the things we need to do to make that happen?
Mhm.
Right? Oh, you're having people over. Okay. Aunt Jan's gonna bring the mashed potatoes. Uncle Fred's gonna bring the cranberry sauce, whatever it might be. And somebody else is gonna bring some crazy dessert that they love because that's what they love. Doesn't have to be pumpkin pie. Please, actually, in my house, please don't let it be pumpkin pie. Um, so this way, again, it's everybody's sharing part of the holiday. um, they're sharing in the work, but also
Mhm.
when you're adding this, when you're bringing this one, dish, maybe, you're contributing. And if it's somebody who loves to bake, that's great. Then what I love about that is they're bringing a piece of themselves. They've made
Mhm.
this with love and compassion for everybody to share. And kind of, isn't that the point of being together during the
It is
holiday?
the sharing point and being together. And I think that part of the expectations that it's important to touch on, and
Mhm.
everybody might probably knows this in the back of their head, is the expectation of perfection and the pressure that we put on ourselves in order for it to be perfect, or what our the socials say is perfect,
Mhm.
and or what the next door neighbors or your friends that you only see on social media, and all you see are their perfect pictures. And one of the things that just is really difficult is to keep up with the Joneses piece, but
Mhm.
the Joneses are right in our face.
The Joneses don't always have to be in our face, though. I think, yes, if it's your neighbor and you're seeing the crazy decorations
But you
that they've
probably
done,
know more about your neighbor than your social media friends on the
yes,
Facebook or
absolutely.
the Instagram.
Absolutely. And, social media, and I think social media and all of that is great for inspiration. I love Christmas decorations. I know we're not talking the other holiday, but I love the decorations. To me, that's the best part. I don't love wrapping presents, but I love the way it looks under the tree, right? So guess what I do? I have these beautiful boxes that are already wrapped and they stay wrapped. And those go under the tree. And everybody else, every gift gets a gift bag. Why? Because it's easy, it's quick, and it doesn't take a lot of brain space,
Mhm.
right? So these are little things that we can do. Again, I love getting the inspiration from social media, but then you have to really be able to turn it off. And I think that's a stress management tip, right?
Hmm.
101, turn off social media. If it's not helping you, it's hurting you.
Hmm.
I truly believe that when it comes to social media, right? So we want to make sure that the holidays are fun, they're memorable, um, they're unique to us. So managing stress around that, if we do it this way, we're doing okay. We're
Hmm.
planning it, we're sharing other, our thoughts with everybody else. Other people are contributing, a lot less stress, right?
I love that. I think that one of the most important things that you've mentioned is asking and asking your guests. So now the pressure of having people over to your house and making it perfect for them, what do they want? Maybe they don't need perfection and they just want to be with you and relax.
I think you're right. We all know that perfection is a myth, right? It doesn't exist. We're always searching because if it did, because we wouldn't always be searching for it, right?
Mhm. Oh, good point.
So it's out there somewhere, maybe, doubt it. So I really believe that is a myth. So yes, when we have people coming to enjoy the holiday with us, whether it's friends, family, new neighbors, whatever it may be. I have a lot of
Mhm.
new neighbors up here in my neighborhood. Um, it's about connection. And I think that's really where we lose sight of holiday and the concept of perfection. Oh, it's got to look a certain way. We've got to do a certain thing. It's really about connecting with the people that you know, love, and trust, and meeting new people, and being grateful for what you have.
Mhm.
It is called Thanksgiving. So, what are
Yeah,
we
thanks.
thankful for?
Denise, thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful for you. And I am
You're
grateful
very,
for your insight. So thank you for being here and sharing your thoughts.
you are very welcome, and I am grateful for you too.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jeanne Gallagher, and this is Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. And I'm here with somebody with the same last name. Hey, Megan.
Hi.
So, same last name, and we're slightly related. But I'm very excited here to be here because Megan is a nutrition coach, and I'm going to have you give your background in just a second. But this is first of three parts, and so we're going to be talking to Megan about life as a nutrition coach and what that really means and how that helps. And then we're going to talk about nutrition coaching and pregnancy and nutrition and exercise because Megan happens to be a little pregnant. And then number three, we're going to also talk about nutrition and exercise and recovering from surgery as I had my hip replaced back in March. But to start with this first session, so Megan, give us a little bit about your background as a nutrition coach.
So I've been a nutrition coach for about 3 years now. I currently help run a CrossFit gym in Arizona. And I have been in the fitness industry for probably like close to 15 years.
Mhm.
I was a personal trainer for a bit, which was how I got into nutrition. And nutrition's always just kind of come easy to me. With growing up, we grew up in a household where dinner wasn't dinner unless there was a vegetable. Um, and we grew up with, we had a garden and all this stuff. And both of my parents they cooked dinners for us. My dad was a chef for a really long time. And my brother and I kind of grew up in the kitchen atmosphere. So it's just food and nutrition has always just been easy for me. And so probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I decided that I wanted to learn more about it and I wanted to help people understand food. I went through a period right after high school where I gained a lot of weight, and then kind of had to teach myself how to lose that weight. And it was a really long road and it was really hard. And I remember being uncomfortable in my body um, when I would see myself in the mirror because of my size. And so I understand what it feels like to be uncomfortable and not know the right way to get out of that. There's so much information on the internet, and there are so many different people that are like, do this 100% and you're going to get there. And then there's people who are like, no, don't do that. That's completely wrong. Do this. And everybody is so different. And so understanding all the different aspects of nutrition and then being able to get to know someone and help them find the way that works for them and then help walk them through it. I'm a very social person, so it's a, this is a very social job, and, you get to know each one of your clients and helping them through their journeys and stuff. And so that's why I like to do it.
So how did you become a nutrition coach, or what goes into becoming a nutrition coach? You just don't decide one day that I'm going to be a coach. You have
Right.
to get certification,
Yeah.
right?
So I have my precision nutrition level 1 cert, which it was an online school that I did. And it teaches you all the aspects of nutrition. You learn about the different ways that your bodies cycle through carbohydrates, fats, where proteins come in. You learn how different foods help the body. And then you learn about the body's anatomy and muscles and everything like that. So it really goes deep into how food is fuel instead of just food. There's so much more behind it. So you get to learn those aspects of nutrition, and then it also teaches you like business and everything like that. So you can learn how to have different clients and handle them and stuff.
So you are my nutrition coach.
Yeah.
and I fought it for a really long time. I'm not going to track my food. Why the hell would I want to do that? That's a lot of work. Oh my goodness, blah, 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 blah. And I know you hear that from a lot of people. And it took me longer than I would have expected to give in. And when I started to track my food, number one, I didn't realize what I was supposed to eat. We eat pretty healthy.
Yeah.
We always have, right?
Yes.
And I thought you were going to say something about the cereal story from when you were a kid. You couldn't have a sweet cereal unless you had another cereal mixed with it.
Yeah, the sweet and the non-sweet. And then when we ran out of the sweet cereal, all we had was non-sweet cereal for the rest of the month. And that was the worst part.
Yeah, gotta tough it out.
Yeah.
But what amazed me, and I want to get into how the process of how you work with a client and what that really looks like. But what amazed me is I didn't understand that I wasn't eating enough protein. And as people get older, how important that is. But I didn't realize the percentages of what I was eating. And I actually started to eat more and in the right proportions, not always the proportion on your plate, but the proportions for the day, the percentages of fat versus protein versus carbohydrates, and where I'm getting all of those things from in my food. But what happened to me is, what blew me away is that I was eating more and my weight dropped.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that, but I also want to touch on first, I think what would be important first is our relationship to the scale and the numbers.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
So the scale has always been evil. Like we've always been taught that your weight rules who you are.
Mhm.
If you're 160 pounds as a female, that's heavy and that's plus size. And, that's not good. It's not pretty. And, where as females, we are very critical of who we are and how we present ourselves. And one of the things that we really try to talk to our clients about, the scale is one tool. It is one small tool that helps me understand how your body is responding to the amount of food that you're eating throughout the day, on top of the exercise and the movement that you might possibly get. When we have our clients weigh themselves and they track their weight, seeing what their weight is doing while I'm setting their macros or helping them figure out the foods that they're going to be eating, knowing their weight is important. Because if I have a client who I'm slowly putting them through a reverse diet and giving them more food each week, if they're tracking, I need to know what their weight's doing. If I'm just giving them food and they're not weighing, I'm kind of going in blind and hoping that it's working. But
Mhm.
if I can have them weigh themselves consistently, and I can see what their weight does, I can know that the food that I'm giving them is enough, not enough. Our bodies are crazy. And if a lot of people come to me where they undereat, we tend to undereat throughout the week. We
Mhm.
eat, salads, and we do really well during the week. And then on the weekends, you're starving from undereating during the week, but also you have events. You go out with friends, you have brunch, you do this and that. And then so your week, you might be consuming, 800 calories daily throughout the week, but then you get the weekend and you're overindulging, and then you're hitting like 3,500 calories over the weekend. So now your body has been in famine all week long, and now you're feasting for 2 days, and your body's like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know what's happening. All I know is I have this overabundance. I'm going to hoard all of this and I'm going to store all this because I don't know when this is going to happen again. And
Mm.
then you starve yourself through the week, and it's just a cycle that we see a lot. So with our clients, we reverse diet them, where we have them track for a couple days so I can get an average. And
Mhm.
then I slowly give them like 100 calories each week, have them weigh, and then that tells me that when we start doing that and they start actually fueling their bodies, a lot of clients lose weight. So you can see like a 5 to, depending on the client, a 5 to 10 pound weight loss as you're eating more food, because now you're fueling your body and
Mhm.
you're teaching your body that there's no famine, and you're burning your metabolism. And it's like, oh, okay, I get
Mhm.
this. We can now function appropriately. The metabolism's running and their weight is starting to stabilize.
So first of all, this is not nothing is a quick fix.
No, no.
And when you go fast, you're really making a hot mess. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
giving your body a chance to, like you said, regulate itself and
Yes.
understand what it's supposed to be doing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the idea of a reverse diet, can you talk a little bit more about that?
So with a reverse diet, we only do a reverse diet if we have clients who want to track their macros. And their
Wait, hold on a
macro
second. What's a macro?
A macro is your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fats. Those
Mhm.
are your macronutrients. And so if we have someone who wants to track that, you can use a food app like MyFitnessPal, and you just track your food for the day. And it
Mhm.
keeps track of your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. So if I have a client that wants to track all of that, then I have them track for 3 days. That allows me an average of the calories that they eat on a daily basis.
Mm.
And then we have that. I usually take away like 200 calories depending on what their average is. If their average is super low, then I'll just leave it. But we take that average and we have them start tracking their food for a week, hitting those calories and those macros. And then that next week, looking at their weight and how consistently they tracked, we then will give them 100 more calories, and
Mhm.
it is all equally, it's distributed through protein, carbs, and fats. And we do that weekly if they can track consistently. We'll do it weekly for until we feel that the client has hit their metabolic threshold. That's when we stop seeing the weight drop and we see the weight kind of stay consistent and then start to increase a little bit.
Mhm.
And the increase is literally like a couple pounds. And we see the increase, but then we don't see a dip back down because you will see an increase here or there as you're going through all this, especially with women, because we have so many hormones and we have cycles and everything like that. You usually gain a couple pounds before your cycle. We have clients who Some clients gain, 1 to 2 pounds right before their cycle. I have clients who actually can gain like 10 pounds
Wow.
during their cycle. And then the second their cycle's done, the weight drops. And it's all water weight. It's all
Mhm.
inflammation. It's all water weight. So
But that's also important for people to understand how their body
yes,
works.
exactly. So there's fluctuations. I mean, there's so many different tangents to go off of, but your weight, you'll see fluctuation in your weight. And the fluctuation can be anything from, are you stressed out?
Mm.
How's your sleep? If you're not getting enough sleep, then you'll see fluctuation in weight. If you're traveling, anytime you travel, you'll gain a couple pounds in water weight because of inflammation. And then also like, what did you eat yesterday? Did
Mhm.
you have meals that were higher in carbohydrates than normal, or like did you go out to eat? There's a bunch of different reasons why you can see that fluctuation, but when it's a water weight fluctuation, we tend to see the weight drop back down once you get back into your routine.
Mhm.
So when we stop seeing that weight go back down once you're into your routine, we know that we've hit that metabolic threshold. Once we hit that, then we talk with our clients and say, okay, so this is where we're at. We can either put you through a cut, or if you decide that you want to start, gaining some muscle and really getting strong, then we can go through a bulk and then cut. But it kind of just depends on what the client's goals are.
So I've watched you do this, and this what's really cool there's so many cool things about you, but that's just
Oh,
because I'm
thank
your mom.
you.
But what's really interesting is I've seen you, and we're going to talk about what these terms mean in just a
Mhm.
second, but I've seen you put yourself through a bulk, and I've seen you put yourself through a cut
Yeah.
because you want to not only tell people what to do, but you want to experience what that is. And
Yes.
even more recently, you had a client that was keto, and you
Yeah.
put yourself into ketosis so that you would understand what they're feeling. And that's just a really great concept to
Yes.
not just tell them, well, you should do this, but now you're experiencing it. So, what is a cut and what is a bulk?
So a cut is when you are looking to drop weight
Mhm.
and to lose a couple pounds. Usually when you want to go through a cut, it's when we have clients whose ultimate goal is to lose weight.
Mhm.
So we would put them through a reverse diet. because they're most likely under eating in general. So we'll put them through a reverse diet, get their metabolism working efficiently, and then put them through a cut. When we put you through a cut, we're at your metabolic threshold, which usually is, I mean, a lot of people are really surprised, but we try to start a cut no lower than 2,000 calories. So
Wow.
like we want you to be at 2,000 or more because our cuts can be pretty drastic. So for a cut, we will take away like 300 calories each week. The cut lasts for 4 weeks. So we get your calories down pretty low through that cut. But you're only at that bottom number for a week at
Mhm.
most. And then we slowly reverse you back out. And the interesting part is it's different with everybody, but there are a lot of people that I've worked with where we go through that cut and they lose weight through the cut, but it's only like a couple pounds here or there. Where they really see that weight loss is through the reverse back up, where we
Wow.
start adding more food in. And so the cut's usually 4 weeks, but the reverse out of the cut is usually, 2 times that amount because each week we slowly add more food in and we're trying to still get to that destination threshold of where we had started at.
So does it teach your body to be more efficient with its fuel?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So it's super important to go through that reverse diet so that we can get your metabolism working
Mhm.
and burning efficiently. Because if I start someone and their starting calories are super low and they want to lose weight, if I was to start at 1,200 calories and then cut from there, they're not going to lose weight because
Yeah.
they're already at a deficit. Your One of the things that we work with our clients on when we meet with them, we try to, whether we're meeting in person or we are online, we try to help them find an in-body scan.
Mhm.
So we have one in our gym that we usually put a lot of our clients on, but with the in-body scan, it breaks everything down where it
Mm.
tells you your body fat percentage, your muscle, all of that, your total body water weight. But it also gives us your BMR. Your BMR is it's your resting metabolic rate. And so that is what you're doing, what you're burning, doing absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
You're lying in bed and your BMR is what it is. The more muscle you have, the higher your BMR is. So I have a lot, we tend to see clients where their BMR is anywhere from like, let's just give a range between like 12 and 1,400, but they're eating 1,000 calories. That's
Mm.
at a complete deficit. So we need to get them back up so they are higher than their BMR. So because, you're not just lying in bed all day. You're working, you're stressed, you're working out, you're
Mhm.
moving around. So your body is burning more than that BMR rate is. So we want to make sure that you're consuming food, which is fuel, to be able to burn, which is what your BMR is. So,
It totally blew me away that
yeah.
that I can eat more food
Hmm.
and be in a better condition than I was before.
Yes.
And for anybody that's listening, the thought of tracking your food, it seems overwhelming, but honestly, it's not as hard as you think it is, but also it's a great tool to learn how to eat well
Yes.
because you're not tracking your food so you don't eat much in the old days of dieting. You're tracking your food so you can eat more.
Yes. Yep.
And that concept is really important, and it's not what most people realize. And so
Hmm.
when you're coaching and you're finding their metabolic threshold and you're figuring it out no matter where they are, you're also coordinating their diet to their activity, right?
Hmm. Yes. Yep.
So what
And so
does
a
that
lot
look
of times,
like?
we'll
Yeah.
ask them what they do for a workout. A good portion of my clients are actually from my gym, so
Mhm.
that's super helpful because I know the workouts that they're doing. But working with a client, asking them what they do for a workout and kind of, trying to hone in on exactly what it is. If they, do you just go to the gym and do cardio? Do you go to the gym and you lift and you're in the gym for 2 hours? Or are you behind a desk all day and getting up and walking to, lunch or whatever? Is that all you get? It's really important to understand the amount of movement that your client is doing, because that helps us understand, where a range for their metabolic threshold might possibly be.
Mhm.
And I have a lot of clients who are pretty sedentary and they sit behind a desk. And going to the gym just isn't something that, one, either they can't do because they have too much on their schedule, or two, the gym isn't what they want to do. And that's totally fine. If the gym isn't something you want to do, well, then, maybe we focus on steps. And if I
Mhm.
can get you to, 5,000 steps a day and slowly work from that, that's amazing.
Mhm.
So there's lots of different ways that you can work on exerting that energy that you are taking in by eating food.
What about skinny fat?
So skinny fat is, there are people that, maybe you don't work out and people are just, everybody is so different. And there are some people that are just meant to be smaller.
Mhm.
And, you'll take a look at them and you're like, oh my God, that person's so skinny, blah, blah, blah. But if you were to, put them on an in-body scanner or a DEXA scan and really break down their body fat percentage and their muscle. If their muscle is super low, their body fat could be higher.
Mhm.
When we work with female clients, the ideal body fat percentage range for a healthy female client is anywhere from 23% and like 25%. That's the
Mm.
healthy range. Um, Men is a lot lower. But if we have a client who is 30% body fat or higher, we really talk to them about the importance of nutrition, because when your body fat is above that, that's where it becomes metabolically unhealthy for you. And as you get older, you tend to see some health risks.
Mhm.
So you could have someone who, by looking at them, they look so skinny and, you want to just look like that. But then you break it down and their muscle is super low and they're at a 30 to 35% body fat. And that could be unhealthy.
Which is really, marketers want us to be, tall and thin, and
Yeah.
but honestly, that tall and thin person could be very much less healthy than the person that works out and has some muscle on their body as well.
Right. Yes.
What about intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting it was big a couple years ago.
Mhm.
It was really cool to wake up in the morning and have a fatty coffee and not eat anything until lunchtime.
Mhm.
And that was really meant to help people lose weight.
Mhm.
And I mean, you would, because your eating window is now shorter. If you were eating from, you have breakfast at 8 a.m. and then you eat lunch and then you eat dinner, and you're probably average dinner time is anywhere between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. for most people. That's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. that you're eating. That's a big eating window. But if you're intermittent fasting, then a lot of people, when they intermittent fast, they do it in the mornings. So they usually don't eat until noon. So if you're not eating until noon and then your last meal is at like 8 o'clock, that shortens your eating window. So that shortens the amount of food that you're putting in. So a lot of people tend to see weight loss with that. Now that it's been a couple years and we've started seeing other things that come out of intermittent fasting, um, intermittent fasting for men, it works great. It's fine. Men have one hormone, you know, so it doesn't really screw with their bodies or their hormones or anything like that. They can thrive off it. With women, we have so many different hormones that are very touchy. So for women, if you have if you're intermittent fasting, you're waking up and you're telling your body that you are starving from the moment you wake up until afternoon when you eat. So for that period of time, your body is under stress and your cortisol is now rising because you're stressed out, your body is stressed, you're not eating, you're starving, and then finally you feast. So that can actually hurt our hormones and throw our cortisol out of whack. Whereas if you were to get up in the morning and eat your breakfast, let your body know that we're not starving, we have food, we're okay. And you have your breakfast, you have your lunch, you can still intermittent fast, but turn that intermittent fast to at night. So if you have your last meal at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then fast until that next morning, that's totally fine. Our bodies run great off of that. And intermittent fasting can be used as a tool to help you lose weight because you are shortening that window to eat.
Yeah, it's interesting how things have changed, and how it's also different. Things have changed over time, which
Yes.
happens a lot, but
Yeah.
also how this is very different from men versus women.
Mhm.
And it's important to differentiate those items because we do function very differently.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody that was unsure of whether they needed a nutrition coach?
Um, I would tell them that nutrition coaching is very much like personal training. If you go to the gym and you have a specific goal, say you want to get a pull-up, um, if you hire a personal trainer to help you get that pull-up, you're going to get there quicker and more efficiently because you're going to have someone who's going to cater to the needs that you as an individual needs to get to that goal. So everybody is so different. So with nutrition coaching, I have such an array of knowledge where it's easier for me to meet you, learn about how you are, how you function, and then I can help give you the tools to point you in the right direction. And as a nutrition coach, I don't give meal plans. We give you tools so that you don't work with us forever. I don't want to be your coach for the rest of your life. I want to
Oh,
be
come
able
on. I
I
thought you were
know.
going to be my coach for the rest of my life.
I want to be able to give you the tools so you can feel comfortable enough to decide, 6 months to a year down the road, I think I got this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I can live an everyday life and be able to sustain the goals that I have hit while working with you.
Make great decisions.
Yep.
So what about, I'm not going to eat, fatty food is bad.
Yeah.
Low fat yogurt, fatty food, bad things.
Yeah.
Embrace the fat, right?
Yes. So we were raised in the generation where fat makes you fat. And everything is fat free, reduced fat, and that's the way to go if you want to lose weight. I don't believe that anymore. And I definitely help explain how I feel about that with my clients, but also I'm not going to form them into my circle. I'm going to give them the information and let them kind of make their decisions. And then decide from there what they want to do, because there are many different ways I can help them without making them eat, higher fat. I get it. But with fat is super important. Our brains run more efficiently off of fat than it does for carbohydrates. Um, we have two energy sources. Carbohydrates is the fast and quick energy source. It's easier for our bodies to burn. And then fat is our longer energy source. So for our brains, they run more efficient off of fat because it's a longer burning source. With carbohydrates, um, we feel hungrier more often when running off of carbs because it's such a quick, fast source of energy. And then also as females with fat, a lot of our hormones run specifically off of fat in order for them to function properly. So it's good. It makes things taste better. If you have a product that is a low fat or a fat-free product, you have to be careful because fat is such a rich taste. When companies take that out of a product, they need to replace it with something else in order to make that product taste good. So the only other thing to add to something to make it taste as good as fat would make it taste is sugar. So if you're going for a product that is low fat or fat free, check out how much sugar's in it. It's usually replaced with sugar.
Interesting.
Hmm.
There's so much, and there's so much we could go on for a really long time. There's
Yeah.
so much to talk about and break down, and I really appreciate you going through with what you have. And we're going to get back together and we're going to talk about nutrition and exercise
Hmm.
and pregnancy, because how far along are you?
26 weeks. So like 6 months.
6 months. Yes. And you are exercising. You're still doing
Uh-huh.
CrossFit.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I do
And
CrossFit 4 to 5 days a week. And then I pop in and do like a Spartan class on the weekends.
just because.
Just cause.
Okay. So how do people get in touch with you?
I have an Instagram. It's Meghan Gallagher, MEGHAN sorry.
You got it.
It's Megan Ann. It's not Megan Gallagher. It's
Yeah,
Megan
I was
Ann.
gonna say, well, wait, hold on.
Yeah. MEGHANANNE 4 is my Instagram. And then I also nutrition coach through the Macro Way. And it is the owner of the gym that I work at. Her and I both do this together. And you can find the Macro Way on Instagram as well.
Fantastic. Megan, thank you. And we'll be talking again, and I look forward to it.
Me too.